Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, today we are plugging into a really practical bit of kit for guitarists. It's the MXR M250 Double Overdrive. Right, so our mission is pretty straightforward. Let's quickly get the essential info on this thing. It's pitched as, two pedals in one box, a dual circuit drive promising both vintage warmth and that tighter modern grit. And before we even talk about sounds, that name, Double, it's kind of fun, right?
It is.
The sources say it's actually a nod to In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah, exactly. Like having two distinct flavors of gain stacked in there.
It's a great hook, definitely. But, the big question is, does it actually deliver, or is it just a gimmick?
Well, I think the name really hits on the problem it's trying to solve for you, the player.
Okay.
I mean, you're often stuck needing two different sounds, right? Maybe a lower gain rhythm thing, and then something hotter for leads.
Yeah, the classic dilemma. Carry two drives or fiddle with settings.
Exactly. Or worse, menu diving on a digital pedal mid-song. So MXR aimed for elegant simplicity here. They wanted to bridge that gap, between a really clean boost and a full-on saturated overdrive.
But keeping it transparent.
That was key. They wanted it to respond to your guitar, your volume knob, your attack. Not just mask it. It's meant to enhance what you've already got.
Okay, so let's unpack how they actually did that. Architecture-wise, this pedal came out, 2016?
Yep, 2016 from MXR, part of Jim Dunlop. It's slotted right into their compact series, and, well, it found its audience pretty quickly.
And the big thing for many players, it's all analog.
Absolutely. 100% analog single path. And that dual voice thing is handled by just a simple little mini toggle switch.
So that switch just flips between two completely separate gain stages inside.
Pretty much. Two independent circuits using op-amp clipping. You can definitely hear the family resemblance to other MXR drives, like the GTOD.
Okay.
And what's really clever, I think, is that even though the controls are shared just output, tone, gain, the circuits themselves are distinct.
So it's not just like turning up the gain on the same circuit.
No, not at all. They use separate EQ filtering for each mode and different diode networks. That's the engineering trick, really. It ensures the low and high settings actually have different textures, different voices, not just more or less of the same sound.
That makes sense. But forcing two circuits to share one set of knobs, did they lose some flexibility there? Wouldn't separate EQs be better?
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
You do give up the ability to have, say, a really dark rhythm tone and a super bright lead tone simultaneously.
Okay.
But that seems like a deliberate trade-off for usability. The shared controls mean when you flip that switch, the transition is smooth. It's musically consistent.
Right. No sudden EQ jump.
Exactly. You're not adjusting three knobs every time you switch.
Yeah.
They prioritize speed and practicality over, endless tweaking options.
Okay, let's walk through those controls then, because they seem simple, but they're doing double duty. First up, output. Just overall volume, right? But the sources mentioned it has a lot of headroom.
Huge headroom, yeah. So if you keep the gain knob way down, you can actually use it as a really potent, clean boost. Just slam the front of your amp. Very useful.
Okay, cool. Then gain. That's just the amount of drive from barely breaking up to full saturation.
Yep. Your core distortion control covers a pretty wide range.
And then the tone knob, you said it's an EQ tilt.
Right. So counterclockwise warms it up, cuts highs, boosts lows. Clockwise adds bite and definition, cuts lows, boosts highs.
Simple, but effective for shaping the overall character.
Very efficient.
Yeah.
Good for quickly adjusting how you sit in the mix.
And then the star of the show really is that little low-high switch. That's the instant access to the two different circuits.
That's the double right there.
Now, speaking of efficiency, I was looking at the tech specs. For something packing two analog circuits, I expected it to be power hungry.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But no, it runs on standard 9-volt DC and only draws about 6 milliamps.
Wow, 6 mA, that's tiny.
It's incredibly low for what it is. Makes it super pedal board friendly, especially if you've got one of those daisy chains or a limited power supply. Very reliable.
And construction-wise, standard MXR.
Oh yeah. Built like a tank. Heavy-duty aluminum box, compact size. Ready for gigs.
And bypass.
True mechanical bypass. So when it's off, your signal goes straight through, completely untouched. No tone suck.
Okay, so engineering-wise, it's solid, efficient, simple controls for complex circuits. But the sound, let's get into that. What happens when you flip that switch? Let's start with the low gain mode, flavor number 1.
Right, the low gain side. This is definitely your vintage voiced mode.
How so?
Well, the sources often compare to like an old British combo amp just starting to break up. Think warm, open.
Open mids. Soft clipping.
Exactly, that kind of smooth, rounded overdrive. But the key word here is dynamic.
Responds to your playing.
Beautifully. You back off your picking, roll your guitar volume down just a touch, and it cleans right up without getting thin or plinky.
Nice. So good for blues, classic rock rhythm, that kind of thing.
Perfect for that. Anything where you need warmth and that touch-sensitive feel. It's kind of in the same ballpark as, say, an MXR modified OD, or maybe even leans towards a blues breaker sort of transparency.
And a typical setting for that classic crunch.
Maybe gain around noon, tone roll back just a bit, like 11 o'clock to keep it warm, and then output set to match your clean level or push the amp a little.
Okay, sounds like a really solid foundation tone. Now flip the switch. High gain mode. Flavor 2.
And it is a different flavor. It's not just louder. When you hit that high gain setting, you're engaging an extra clipping stage internally.
So more saturation, more sustain right away.
Definitely.
Yes.
But here's the other crucial part. MXR also brings in more low-end filtering specifically for this mode.
Why is that important?
Well, think about high gain pedals. Sometimes they get muddy or flubby on the low strings, especially with chords, right?
Yeah, that low-end mush.
This filtering keeps things tight. It prevents that flub. So the result is a heavier sound, yes, but it stays focused. You get more pronounced upper mids too, which helps you cut through for solos.
So low mode is open and dynamic. High mode is tight and aggressive.
You got it. And it feels more amp-like in its response, I think. Less squishy or compressed than some dedicated high gain pedals can be.
And the comparison here, hot-rodded Marshall territory.
Absolutely. Think JCM 800, maybe a souped-up Plexi. It's got some overlap with MXR's own super badass distortion, but the M250 maybe retains a little more clarity because of that independent circuit design.
And for setting that up for leads?
You'd probably crank the gain up, maybe 3 o'clock or more, set the tone a bit brighter, perhaps 2 o'clock to cut through, and make sure that output level is giving you the boost you need over the rhythm sound.
Okay, this dual nature thing seems genuinely useful. Let's talk practical applications. We know the sounds, but how does this actually help you on stage or in the studio? The obvious one is using it as your core drive.
Right. That's the primary design goal, isn't it? Set the low mode for your main rhythm crunch.
That slightly dirty open sound.
Yeah. And then the high mode is just waiting there. You hit the foot switch to turn the pedal on, then flick the mini toggle when it's solo time, instant lead boost.
No tap dancing between two separate pedals mid-song.
Which, in the heat of the moment, is huge. Simplicity counts. Another way people use it is as a stackable gain stage.
How does that work?
Well, because it's pretty transparent, especially in low gain mode, it takes other pedals, hitting it really well. So put a clean boost or even a compressor before the M250.
Push the front end of the pedal itself?
Exactly. You stack gain into it. And because it doesn't overly color the tone, it just sounds like more of your amp breaking up. But with maybe the M250's flavor added.
Yeah.
Creates nice textures without turning into mud.
Interesting. And there was a third way you mentioned, the always-on pedal.
Yeah, some players apparently use the low gain mode with the gain set really low, maybe just barely on, but the output cranked up.
Like a tone sweetener.
Kind of, yeah. Just leave it on all the time. It adds a bit of warmth, a little body, maybe a touch of compression, almost like a subtle preamp boost. It enhances the clean tone without sounding like an obvious effect.
Okay, so 3 distinct ways to use it. Now, putting it in context with other pedals out there.
Right.
Where does the M250 sit?
Well, it really occupies this interesting middle ground. It's definitely more versatile than a simple clean boost, but maybe not as colored or mid-focused as some classic overdrives.
Like the Boss SD1, for example.
That's a great comparison the sources make. The SD1 is legendary, but it has that very distinct mid-hump and a certain compression. It cuts through, but it changes your tone quite a bit.
Right.
The M250, in contrast, aims for more clarity, less of that strong mid-push. It lets more of your guitar's fundamental sound come through, you know?
So if you like the idea of what a tube screamer does, tightening the sound, adding sustain, but you don't want that specific mid-hump EQ.
The M250 could be a really good alternative, yeah. It offers that clarity and range. And compared to its own sibling, like the MXR M77 modified OD.
Which is just a single voice pedal.
Right. The M250 gives you that crucial dual functionality. Vintage and modern sounds, switchable on the fly. That's the key differentiator.
And it seems like this combination really resonated. It became a bit of a sleeper hit.
Definitely, especially with session players, folks who need reliability and versatility without a massive board. It got praised for being quiet, consistent, dynamic, easy to use.
You're basically covering a lot of ground. Fender cleans to Marshall roar, almost.
Pretty much, yeah. All controlled by that one little switch. It really cemented its place in that modern MXR drive lineup. kind of sitting nicely between the smoother M77 OD and the heavier M75 distortion.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. The key takeaways for anyone listening.
I'd say the main thing is the MXR M250 double-double genuinely delivers two distinct all-analog overdrive circuits in one small box.
Goes from clean boost right up to pretty saturated distortion.
Right. And it does it while staying pretty transparent and feeling amp-like in its response. That's thanks to the separate circuitry and the smart EQ filtering.
And that clever name really does reflect its core purpose.
It really does. It tackled that common player need switching between rhythm and lead sounds instantly and took its inspiration from something as simple as a fast food order.
Yeah.
And I think it shows something interesting, right? Even with complex electronics, sometimes focusing on simple, practical usability, even reflected in a fun name, leads to a really successful, reliable tool. It lets you cover a huge amount of tonal ground without overcomplicating things.
Powerful idea.
Which kind of leaves you with a thought, doesn't it? How much does that practical, accessible design really influence true versatility, maybe even more than just packing in feature after feature? Something to think about next time you're looking at a pedal board full of complex options.